what were the biggest lessons that we can take away specifically from the pros that have been... Josh Amberger talked about heel striking actually being from the Sarahs. Sarah True and Sarah Crowley both said the same thing, that when they got into... Morning, Trainiacs. I'm gonna blow your mind with something here. In Winnipeg, it is minus 47 Celsius. So I was looking this morning, and as far as I can tell, we have published over 30 podcasts. And over the last couple days, realizing that, I got to thinking, you know what were the biggest lessons that we can take away specifically from the pros that have been on the podcast? Because there have been some real eye-openers that I did not see coming. Now, right out of the gates, Mark Allen ended up kind of blowing my mind in the very first interview podcast that we released. And he said something that relates to what I say to all of you. I talk about how one of the best aspects of triathlon is when you end up incorporating it into your lifestyle, and it's not just something that you do off to the side for fitness or you've got to find time for it, but you make it part of your regular daily routine. And what Mark said specifically was relating to meditation, which I've been doing for the past 2 years, and it was this thing that I did for 10 minutes a day, but I didn't really think about it for the rest of the day. And Mark said, what you need to train yourself how to do is take that calming technique that you use to calm the chatter in your head, translate it over to your racing and your training, and then when you get into a race and you get those voices in your head that are like, slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh, you're not doing as well as you thought. You're not having the race that you anticipated. That's negative energy that is sucking the life out of you during that race, and it's not productive. So he talked about translating that thing that I was doing off on the side into my life, just the same way that I talk about using triathlon in the rest of your life. Bing! All right, I got a 2 hour and 20 minute brick workout. We'll pick this back up in a bit. Solid. Hour 20 on Zwift, 40 minutes on the treadmill, finishing at a 6:44 per mile pace, somewhere around 420 kilometers. The next lesson that when he said it in the podcast, Josh Amberger talked about heel striking actually being what him and his coach are going towards. I had to question him on it. I said, why heel striking? And he explained that in long distance running, it's actually more efficient. So I did a video on it, which I will link to, bam, right up there, that after I did the research, at basically all of our full marathon paces, heel striking is more efficient. And if you are a natural heel striker, heel strike away, y'all. All right, to save you from these, I'm gonna go pretty up and we'll be right back. All right, before we get into the next lessons that I've taken from interviewing pro and really good, cool triathletes, I want to pay the bills. And this is gonna grate all your cheeses because the last time I did it, y'all lost your minds, but unfortunately, Petey here has to eat. Mel in the corner does not make these videos for free. Isn't that right, Mel?
No.
So I want to thank the sponsor, same sponsor as last time, Health IQ. Health IQ is a life insurance company that they provide as much as a 23% savings on life insurance for cyclists, runners, triathletes, vegans, and this really just makes so much sense. I used to be a certified financial planner, and there were a lot of things that bugged me about the insurance and investment industry, and the fact that this guy who dedicated his life to being healthy could not get a savings on my life insurance. I was paying as much as the next joker out there who sat on the couch, didn't do a whole lot. I wrote the plans and it bugged me. It bugged me because basically I was subsidizing their cost. Not with Health IQ, they're completely dedicated to serving active people who take care of themselves, and they're able to offer a savings for that. If you're interested in hearing more, finding out if you can get that savings, go to healthiq.com/Taren, just Taren, not Triathlon Taren, just Taren, and they've bundled up all of the triathlete specific information there. All right, bills paid, PD and Mel can continue to eat. Grand. Now, back to the video. The next really important lesson that I talk about a lot that was really exciting to have reaffirmed was when we were talking to the Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence. Now, this guy is known for doing 50 Ironmans in 50 states in 50 days. He holds records for the most amount of half Ironmans completed in a year, the record for the most amount of full Ironmans completed in a year. This guy is known for going long. In that podcast, he said, you know what? I'm known for going long, but I would not have been able to do that if I didn't build up speed, endurance, and understanding of my body and strength by doing sprints, Olympics, and powerlifting movements. And what I see so much, and the industry sees so much, is that there is this black hole of triathlon that is Ironman, and people are making leaps up to that distance before their body is ready, because it's the bucket list that you have to do it. And I get it. It's an awesome company. They hold awesome races. But to completely ignore the progression that a lot of athletes should be going through to go through it safely and to get as fast as they possibly can, it makes me sad. Because you might go into Ironman, not have a good experience, and then be out of the sport. And then we can't be buds anymore. Because you're going to find, like, I don't know, Kayaking Kevin. Kayak Kevin actually exists on YouTube. Come on. It actually exists on YouTube.
Yeah, he's got 3.2 thousand followers.
Kayak Kevin Whitley.
He's a real guy.
On to the next lesson, and it comes from the Sarahs. Sarah True and Sarah Crowley both said the same thing, that when they got into half iron distance racing, that they actually forgot to eat. And the first indication that they hadn't eaten enough was they're in the middle of a race and they went, kind of hungry here. What did I have? Oh, I had one gel for the race. And then they started thinking, oh yeah, it's really important to figure out your nutrition. That is why we're actually coming up with a race nutrition calculating and like figuring out how to dial in your race nutrition series here on YouTube. Make sure that you're subscribed to not miss that. So bottom line, the lesson there, even pros can mess up their nutrition, and it was kind of funny. Now this is one that really hits home for me, and we're gonna bring it in here tight for this one. The Wurtele said it first, Sarah Crowley said basically the same thing, and just yesterday, Laura Siddall, she ended up saying the same thing, and they were people that came from real jobs, corporate jobs. And what they felt was something that I felt, that I'm sure a lot of you feel, that they weren't fulfilled to the most that they possibly could. They were doing these races and sporting events off to the side, and that was when they felt alive. But they were going down this corporate path in their mid to late 20s, all of them. They said, you know what? If I'm gonna make a choice to do something risky, why wait? Because you're not getting any younger. And all of them took a leap of faith and said, you know what? I don't know if it's gonna work out and be a professional triathlete, but they ended up trying it and doing it fairly successfully. And that's not to say that all of you need to quit your job and try to be a professional triathlete, but I'm sure that there are a lot of you that wish you could be doing something else, whether it's starting a business, whether it's taking a different job, whether it's traveling for a year or two, something that you feel like you're missing out on. You know what? People that are the most happy out there are doing the coolest, most outlandish things. So go do some cool, outlandish things. And then finally, talking about Laura Siddall, she actually went through this moment in Ironman New Zealand 2017 where she was passing Meredith Kessler with about 8 or 9K left in the run. And this is actually on YouTube. I'll link to the video below and you can see it. And Laura was passing Meredith Kessler, noticing that Meredith was suffering, and in the interviews that she did after the race, she talked about how she encouraged Meredith to run with her and try to help her to the finish line. And that really kind of like it hit me here. And I went like, these are people whose livelihoods depend on beating as many athletes as they can. And Laura said that when you're in a race, there are a few things. Number one, you don't have to race with anger, because that anger and that ultra competitiveness, that's negative vibes, and it takes energy to be negative. And then number two, you have to race in the moment. And if you're racing thinking about the podium placing that you might or might not get, or how well you can do, that again is going to take you out of executing the best race that you can. And even us age groupers, we might be focused on the outcome of a race and not thinking about the process and doing as well as we can in that moment. And in her case, the best thing that she could do in that moment was have positive vibes and try to pass that on to Meredith. So there you go, triathlon trainiacs. Those are the biggest lessons that I've taken away from pros and really good triathletes over the past 5 or 6 months of doing the podcast. It's been interesting. It's been very interesting taking everything that I learned on YouTube and saying, you know what? That doesn't apply in podcasting. I got to learn a whole different set of skills. It's been a lot of fun, and we're going to keep doing it. If you aren't yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button below for daily triathlon videos. And if you are subscribed, tell me which has been your favorite podcast in the comments below. I'm going to go watch me some Kayak Kevin videos now. Put it on the big screen, Mel.